Happy holiday season. We're going to call the meeting of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners December 7th, 2023 meeting to order at 6:22 p.m. I'm going to ask the clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cavell.
Here.
Commissioner Erickson Galt. Commissioner Gershenson.
Here.
Commissioner Gingell. Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Joliet.
Here.
Commissioner Long.
Here.
Commissioner Lubes. Commissioner Markham. Commissioner Miller.
Here,
Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Powell. Commissioner Rahman.
Present.
Commissioner Smith Charles.
Present.
Commissioner Spiz.
Present.
Commissioner Weipert.
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. They'll move us to the invocation this evening. The invocation will be presented by the Honorable Mike Spiz,
1 second, I'm still logging in.
followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Spiz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think some of you remember almost 2 years ago to the date, I stood here after one of the worst days in Oxford Township history and Oakland County history. And I was hoping we'd be a little bit better place. And I think we are in a little bit better place, but some of you may know, some of you may not know. Tomorrow on this campus, evil will be sentenced tomorrow. So hopefully that will help some people towards closure, if you can. Some people will never get towards closure, have to deal with this forever. So I ask for you, and one other thing, and then of course yesterday, everybody read the news of the tragedy at UNLV. You know, when will it stop? And it's frustrating for everyone, all the violence in this country over what many of us would believe to be nonsense. So with that, I ask you to bow your heads. Dear Lord, I ask you for the strength and comfort for those affected by the Oxford and UNLV tragedy. I ask for strength and wisdom for all those speaking tomorrow and for Judge Rowe as he delivers his sentence. I also ask you to welcome into your kingdom those we have lost this year, including our own Gary McGilvery. May you grant them eternal rest, O Lord, and may perpetual light shine upon them. I ask that you protect us all as we continue to heal and to help us remember and focus on the good that is in our world. We look to you for the best way forward. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Commissioner Spiz, thank you for the reflection. It's a reminder of so much more work that has to be done, and appropriate more now than ever. Next up, we got approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from November 16th? Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes have been approved unanimously, and that will move us to approval of the agenda. I know there was some requests to have some items pulled off the consent agenda, so I'd ask commissioners refresh and just verify that those adjustments have been made. And if folks who requested it can give me the thumbs up that we're good. Good? Good? Commissioner Spiz, we're good? We're good, okay. So as the agenda, some of the items that were on the consent are on the regular agenda now. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Oh, yes, Commissioner Smith Charles.
Thank you. I did refresh. I just have a 14A under regular agenda. I thought there was Royal Township as well. Oh, it's finance.
Let me
Okay.
check.
Never mind. Thank you.
All good? Okay. We're good. All right. Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Smith Charles to approve the agenda. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda has been approved unanimously. We're going to move next to a few presentations. We've got a presentation and a couple proclamations. I'd like to welcome Dr. Haley Murphy from the Detroit Zoo. We love not only having our zoo director, Dr. Murphy, come, but she brought all the penguins. I'm just kidding. And they're gonna, no, I just like, no. But, I mean, many of you have had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Murphy. She hit the ground running. We are so excited to have her presiding over the largest public tourism destination in all of the great land of Michigan, and to get an update on all the things that are happening. So really appreciate you making the time this evening. And I'm going to give you the floor to give an update on all the cool things happening at the zoo. All right.
Okay, everybody can hear me. So thank you so much. It's great to be here and great to see everybody. We wanted to give you an update on our Q4 and year overall. As Commissioner Woodward said, we're really busy at the zoo, being so active in the community and having so many people come through our gates. We take our responsibility very seriously to provide an environment of fun and connection to nature. We have rebranded ourselves a little bit in the last year or so. We've kind of defined our North Star as igniting positive change for animals and nature. We've recrafted our vision and mission to be in line with what people expect when they come to the zoo and the needs of our society around the environment. So the DZS will be a force of positive change in a world where animals and nature are valued, understood, and protected by all people. And we want to really create these meaningful connections between people, animals, and the natural world so all can thrive. So really bringing all of our staff and the volunteers that come through and the docents and the school children together under this mission and vision. As you can see, we're really committed to this, and in fact, we have a new strategic plan that we'll be launching in 2024. We spent a year developing this with our board, a lot of community input through different surveys, really focusing on these four main overriding umbrella areas, and that is increasing the animal population on our campus so that people can enjoy the space, expanding our sustainability and conservation initiatives. So we're very driven to be a good neighbor to the earth and Oakland County and on our campus, and then conservation both here in Southeast Michigan. We have a whole focus on that in our conservation strategic plan and across the globe. Creating new, fun, and educational opportunities. I'll talk a little bit about our education team in a minute. And then increasing our attendance and revenue. We are one of the larger zoos in the United States, and so we're always looking at keeping ahead of things and being innovative. In 2023, as we close out our year, we're projecting a $48 million in revenue. That's about 2% over where we thought we'd be on our budget. We're still kind of coming out of that COVID pandemic shutdown that we all experienced. Expenses are projected a little bit over $43 million, 2% over budget. We're also feeling the effects of inflation. Total attendance is estimated to be about 1.24 million, right where we projected on our attendance projections when we set our budget. And we, every year we look at our economic impact to this region. It's $168 million in direct annual economic benefit to the region. And that's through both events we hold as well as visits and tourism. The Belle Isle Nature Center, which we also run, we shut that down during COVID, totally gutted it and redid it. It's amazing. If you haven't been there, please go. Where it's projected to welcome more than 100,000 guests in the first full year at the Belle Isle Nature Center. Our revenue source is something that people are always interested in. In 2023, public funding accounts for approximately 32% of our operating budget. And you can see where we break down, and we, for the counties, like to always point out where the breakdown in funds comes from. Oakland County is 15%, Wayne County is 10%, Macomb County 7%, and fundraising closes the gap at 14%. Our membership, something that we always like to highlight. Through this last October, the last time we did an accurate count, we had a little over 43,000 active member households, and 42% of the 1 million people as of October that visited were members. So that's a great capture rate for our membership. Oakland County, again, leads the way in members. So over 51% of our members come from Oakland County, Wayne 27%, and Macomb 21%. Education is something that we focus on heavily throughout the park and in the school systems. Over 50% of our 1,400 Safari Camp campers were from Oakland County, and over 20% of those children were on scholarships, so didn't have to pay. More than 890 students are from Oakland County schools, participate in our zoo tours. We do in-person learning and virtual learning. We do a lot of teacher education too, so we help teachers teach about nature and the environment. Additionally, 338 Oakland County residents came for programs such as Zoo Tots and school outreach programs. And we have a really innovative after-school programming where we saw the gap from COVID and these kids. So we go to, actually we just added a school, 6 Oakland County schools for after-school programming so we can help those kids kind of catch up in their education and stay on target. Our events, our diversity and community engagement events, we did Dream Night this year. It's a worldwide event for zoos across the world, but we just brought it back. This is an event where we close the zoo down in the evening, and it's really targeted toward chronic or terminally ill children and their families. To be able to get out free of cost, everything at the zoo is free, and we like to bring these kids and their caretakers in for a stress-free night to rejuvenate them, to a little respite from their stress day in and day out. We limit it to 1,000 people so that it's not very crowded. A lot of these children need a lot of space for their safety, and we're looking forward to bring this back June 7th, 2024. Senior days are always super popular. Tri-County seniors 62 and older with 1 adult guests come in free. We get buses unloading with seniors. We do a lot of on-grounds to help them get across the grounds. We have our trams running. We have different services available for that. We'll do that twice again next year. And then sensory-friendly evenings. I'm proud to say we offer 3 of these a night for guests that may have different sensory needs. During these times, we do all sorts of special things on grounds. Also, we cut down the noise, cut down the music, cut down the bright lights so that they can come and enjoy, again, a really sensory sensitive evening. We have a lot of new animals. We're really thrilled at this. We had a little baby chimp born last year, Ty. You can see our baby giraffe, Jehudi, out there frolicking. And we also brought in a new family group of gorillas. And so this was something we've been working towards for the last 20 years, and we're thrilled to have them and hoping for some breeding. So it will be a first for the Detroit Zoo to have baby gorillas. So we're really excited about that. Wild Lights is running right now. Please come if you haven't. It's a great tradition to come out and see the Wild Lights. We change this every single year. So this year you'll see other changes in the lights. It runs through January 7th. Sometimes we have to extend it because of demand. We have over 500 displays of lights, and we're expecting over 130,000 people. So please come enjoy that. And that's it. Any questions about your zoo?
It's the zoo. All right, first I'll ask, commissioners, this is, just for those watching at home, another great partnership, not only, a regional collaboration, but a great partnership to help support, to make sure that the Detroit Zoo remains like this incredible educational experience. And so we're so happy to hear. Is there any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Markham, followed by Joliet.
Presentation.
You're welcome.
The zoo is wonderful. So late at night when I'm trying to relax, I will flip on Animal Planet, and they have all these zoo shows, right? Columbus, San Diego, London, all over the world and stuff. And I'm wondering if the Detroit Zoo has any plans to, get their face out a little bit more in the public nationally or whatever, because it is a gem and
It is a gem. Thank you for that question. Yeah, we've actually looked at several media partners, and we continue to explore that. Right now, we have a lot of infrastructure needs, so it's probably not the right time to do that. But as we look into, we just did our 95th anniversary, which was huge, and we're closing in on 100 years on 5 years. So if we're going to do anything, that's probably the time we'll do it. But I'm not going to spoil any surprises that may be coming.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Joliet.
Thank you. So in the past, you've had a wildlife photography exhibit. Mm-hmm. Do you have one this year?
We do. Yes, it's in the Ford Education Center in the upper level, and it's fantastic. It's all about the impact of people on the environment.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We are one of the only zoos with an art collection, by the way. Yeah.
Great. Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Lewis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's no secret to any of you or any of my friends at the DZS that I love the DZS. Yeah, it's a great treasure. I have lots of technical things that we can talk about, and we'll do that offline. My pop culture question is, when's that water tower going to get a fresh paint of paint?
Oh, see, now I knew somebody was going to go there.
It was on my list.
Yeah, we cannot reveal what that's going to be, but it's going to be super exciting sometime this next spring. Yeah, but we're not going to tell you what it is. You can try and bribe me, won't work.
But if you make a $100,000 donation, I'm sure Dr. Murphy will arrange for a private dinner and an early unveil.
Dave Woodward's been taking a lot of pictures of himself.
I'm going to give you Commissioner Lubes.
Do you have outreach to communities such as tables of information or animals, and would you go to, say, a farmer's market?
We do a lot of community outreach. In fact, our community outreach expert is here with us tonight, DeAndrea Matthews. So we try and space it out between the 3 counties. We go to markets, we go to school events, we go to museum events. A lot of times we're in like town, craft fair type things. We do as much as we can. We do not take animals on the road, though. Our animal well-being is paramount to what we do, and we have evidence that that's not the best well-being for them, but we take a lot of other zoo artifacts with us.
Your contact information is on the website?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, I mean, we could talk about panda diplomacy. We could talk about infrastructure needs, which we definitely need to address.
Huge.
At the zoo, the tower was already brought up. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think one of the hopes that I have an opportunity, if you haven't been to the zoo, and I think my experience going to the zoo is kind of ebb and flowed with my kids and their friends, and it is a reminder that this asset is like literally in our backyard, and an Oakland County event sometime next spring is probably in order. I don't think we used to do it pretty regularly, but I think it's time to do it going forward. So thank you for your leadership. I also want to recognize, do you want to recognize your team?
Yeah.
That's here.
Over in the back there, that's Amanda Hanlon, our Chief of Staff, Robbie Shoemaker, who's our CFO, and DeAndrea Matthews, who's our Vice President of Community Engagement and Diversity, Access, and Equity.
Great. And also is one of our members on the Zoo Authority, our chair, Brandon Colo.
Yeah, Brandon Colo is the chair of the Oakland County Zoo Authority and one of our best friends at the zoo. So he has his 95th anniversary shirt on, which I love. Certainly one of our best cheerleaders.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Seeing no further
questions.
Thank you,
everybody.
We'll see you at Wild Lights. All right, next up, we've got a number of proclamations we want to award this evening to incredible, outstanding citizens. And so the first up, I'm going to call on Commissioner Spiz to present the first proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jerry, would you mind coming up and joining me? I have the honor of presenting a proclamation to Jerry Sowick. Jerry and I met for the very first time when I was first elected to the Board of Commissioners here roughly 11, 12 years ago, and we've been working together ever since then. So it's a pleasure to present this to you, but it's also sadness that you're deciding to take hopefully bigger and better things. Right. I'm going to read it for the record. Whereas generous people such as Jerry Sowick, who selfishly share their time and expertise to help ensure the needs of older adults in Oakland County are met and deserving of recognition. And whereas, as a member of the Oakland County Senior Advisory Council for the past decade, I think it's a little bit longer than a decade, Mr. Sowick has committed himself to upholding the council's mission of making Oakland County a place where seniors enjoy a high quality of life, enriched by volunteering and other recreational, cultural, and growth activities. Through his liaison work between the senior community centers, senior centers, county officials, Mr. Sowick helped identify gaps in services and connected older adults with available resources. Further, he regularly communicated emerging trends voiced by seniors on a variety of topics like transportation and health information to his county commissioner, which would be myself. Thank you for that. And he currently represents the communities of Addison, Oxford, Rochester, Leonard, Oakland Township, and Rochester Hills. And prior to that, it was Brandon Township in the old days before we redistrict. Whereas not only does Mr. Sowick advocate for seniors, he also supports them and their families with compassionate care in his professional life. Since August of 2009, Mr. Sowick's business, Synergy Home Care of Rochester, has paired senior clients with caregivers who provide non-medical home services such as companionship, meal preparation, housekeeping, and personal care in a way that preserves the dignity and privacy of their clients. This experience brought an enhancement perspective to his work on the SAC and empowered him to educate fellow SAC members on home health and hospice care through presentations and information sharing. And whereas Mr. Sowick was previously a senior product engineer, well, glad you know, for a global automotive supplier, Borg Warner, and holds a Bachelor of Science Mechanical Engineering from the University of Michigan, go Blue. He also served as a trustee with the Carmonas Cancer Institute for 10 years. And whereas, in recognition of his final days on the Oakland County Senior Advisory Council, we join with fellow SAC members to honor Mr. Sowick for the many years he has dedicated to finding solutions to the challenges older adults face. Now, therefore, Mr. David T. Woodward of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Mike Spiz, myself, and the entire County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim special commendations to Jerry. We are grateful for your voluntary contributions and wish you the best in the future. Thank you very much.
It was my pleasure. I do want to mention that this was very rewarding, this decade plus of time. And my biggest concern or thoughts are, was I of any value to the other committee members, and what influence did I have? I do have to admit that Mike didn't tell me when I got involved, that this was just a startup organization. So I saw it blossom from something that was trying to figure out what its focus was, or to something that they know exactly their purpose now is defined over that 10-year period. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for everything you've done. I wish you the best in the future. Thanks. Can you do a picture right up front here? Stay in touch.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call up Commissioner Christine Long with the next proclamation.
So Barb Garbett cannot be here tonight. This is why she's resigning. She has health issues now, but I didn't want to not recognize her, because when I moved into Commerce Township 40 years ago, Barb Garbett was Commerce Township, and she is Commerce Township. She volunteers on Parks and Recreation Committee, Credit Union, the Teachers Credit Union Board, the Commerce Library Board, the Commerce Cemetery Board. So she is just resigning from all this at one time, and she was on it for many, many years. Very active citizen. And I appointed her, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 12 or 14, I think, for Senior Advisory Committee, and she did an excellent job. And then she got the Outstanding Senior Oakland County Award in 2022. But she is just, everyone in Commerce Township knows her. She worked at Walled Lake Outdoor Center. She was a phys ed teacher in Commerce Elementary, and then she went to be the principal in Commerce Elementary, and then she volunteered for all this other stuff. So she's very well known. I hope you're watching, Barb Garbett. And I'm going to personally deliver this with a lunch for her. So just thank you, and thank you, Barb Garbett, for all your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Long. And next up, Commissioner Joliet for our final proclamation this evening.
Thank you. My member also could not be here, regretfully. She has health issues. But I do hope that she's also watching on YouTube. I'm going to read some of this. Some of it was already covered in Commissioner Spiz's, but whereas the accomplishments of special people such as Carolyn Morrison, who donated time to serve their communities and make Oakland County a premier home for older adults seeking to age in place, are commendable and worthy of gratitude. Whereas more than 15 years ago, Ms. Morrison was appointed by her county commissioner to serve on the Oakland County Senior Advisory Council to advocate on behalf of senior living in District 8, which includes Independent Township, Lake Angeles, Clarkston, and portions of Waterford. Whereas a master gardener, Mrs. Morrison led the garden committee at Independence Township Senior Care Center, or Community Center, which she will also be stepping down from. She also serves as president of Friends of Independence Township Senior Center, a 501c3 that works with senior center staff to support the center's programs, services, and facilities. Whereas as she steps down from service on the Oakland County Senior Advisory Council, we join her with fellow council members to reflect on Carol Morrison's many contributions to enhancing life experiences and opportunities for older adults in her community.
Excellent. Collectively, a demonstration of the volunteers that make our communities the great places to live and a great county to be part of. Thank you all for recognizing the achievements of our recipients this evening. Next up is communications, so I will call on the clerk to read the following communications.
Mr. Chair, there are 3 communications. The first dated December 7th, 2023 to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. I am hereby appointing the following individuals to serve on the Oakland County Historical Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2026. Carol Basic-Egbo and Kathleen Much. Your confirmation of this appointment is respectfully requested. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Secondly, dated December 7th, 2023 to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, I am hereby appointing the following individuals to the Oakland County Personnel Appeal Board for a term ending December 31st, 2024. Commissioner David Woodward, Commissioner William Miller. Your confirmation of these appointments is respectfully requested. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. And finally, dear Commissioners, thank you for the proclamation and well wishes. Your kind words and recognition were greatly appreciated. I truly enjoyed supporting and working with each of you over the years. I wish each of you all the very best and take time to enjoy life. Best, Connie Sorogi. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Can I get a motion to receive the communications? Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Joliet. Any discussion? See none. All in favor of receiving the communication say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect the communications have been received unanimously. Next up is public comment. This is the first public comment of the evening. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items on the agenda. We have a second public comment at the end of the meeting for any other topic, but we ask you to keep your comments for this first section, first public comment to items on the agenda. I ask that you come to this mic. I have some people signed up, so I will start with the folks that signed up, and then if you get inspired and want to say something, just raise your hand. I'll call you to the mic. Keep your comments to 3 minutes. Direct your comments to me, the chair. We got a little prompter up here that will help keep you on task, and if you exceed your time, I'll ask you to wrap up your comments so that we ensure time for all participants. So first up, we have Jenny Brown. Well, we had Jenny Brown.
I apologize. I'm Anne Marie Otoy. I'm Jenny Brown's executive assistant. Jenny waited. Tonight is actually the night of Dutton Farms holiday party. So we have 150 anxious people waiting for her to pass out awards this evening. So she had to step away. And so I'm here in her place. Thank you. Chairman and Oakland County Board of Commission. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you. Jenny Brown is the CEO of Dutton Farm. We're a nonprofit organization in Rochester that empowers and supports adults with disabilities to live a life of purpose, inclusion, and dignity. We also own 2 social enterprises in Pontiac, a bath and body company, and a coffee shop that seeks to remove barriers to employment for adults with disabilities who are unemployed. I am here to express my gratitude and Dutton Farm's gratitude for the support that we have received through the resolution that I hope will be successfully passed this evening. This funding will allow us to expand and take every single person off of our waiting list and bring them into our program, providing opportunities for some of Oakland County's most vulnerable residents. I cannot thank you enough for your care and concern for all of Oakland, for Oakland County's most vulnerable residents. You are our heroes tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, I got Paul Blatt.
Good evening. I'm Paul Blatt, President and CEO of Gesher Human Services. I appreciate you taking the time tonight. The item that's on the agenda this evening is about our Oakland 80 and the work that we've been doing with the workforce development and Rana and the entire team. Our team are the people who are the career navigators out there and working with the people in our community and making such an enormous change and benefiting the lives. We know that as education rises for our community members, that our median income and our ability to take care of ourselves within the community rises as well and really elevates the entire community. So I'm here tonight just to thank for the support over the last couple years. The community has really rallied behind this. The professionals throughout the community have made this an amazing experience. I'm proud to be a part of the team that is doing that work. And if we move forward, as we move forward with the expansion of that work, working with the teens to really make a difference is exciting for our team and for our community. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Next up, I've got Lance Stokes.
Good evening. I'm Lance Stokes, Oakland County Parks and Rec Commissioner, and I am here tonight at the suggestion of Chris Ward, Director of Oakland County Parks and Recs. I have been on the commission from January of 2021 to present. I had an interview on November 28th for renewal. I'm very active as a commissioner. With my environmental background, financial and economic background, I work on both sides as a parks commissioner. I have done an extensive amount of work in trying to reduce our carbon footprint, and our parks are a good location, a good source to help reduce that carbon footprint by bringing innovative ideas to reduce carbon and greenhouse gases. Yesterday, I was very unceremoniously notified. Someone walked up to me and said, "Lance, I guess you're no longer a commissioner." No one paid me the courtesy of a phone call. No one. You know what that feels like? I've been working very hard. I go to every meeting. For over the 3 years, I missed 2 meetings because I was sick with COVID. I study the packets before we meet so that I can make significant contributions. I'm a champion of our parks, and like I told earlier to one group, that I work diligently to bring people into our parks. You know, parks are more than just camping and just fun. Parks are an opportunity for us to interact and unite with nature. And probably all of us need that to get away from the stress and the craziness that's going on in our world today. So you're going to vote tonight, and I want to let you know what happened, and I'm stunned by it. I am stunned by it. I'm truly committed. I bring cutting-edge ideas. I have an idea that I'm bringing to the Oakland County Parks and Rec Division to not only save wildlife and crossing highways, but to save human life, which is perhaps more important. We have 50,000 deer that are killed every year in Michigan. The lion's share happens right here in Oakland County. And of that 50,000 deer, there's 1,000 people that are killed. Deer go through the windshield, kick the people to death. Horrible. So I brought an idea with grant money from the federal government, so that's just an example of some of the things that I do. And I just want you to know, as you vote tonight, what happened. No one had the courtesy to make a phone call, to just walk up to me and say, Lance, let me tell you what happened. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lance. Next up, we've got Ann Capella, the Royal Oak Township Manager.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Welcome.
I'm here on behalf of Royal Oak Township, and I understand there were some questions regarding an item that's on the agenda. I'm prepared to answer any questions. I just wanted to ask for your support for this project. So I'd be happy to speak at the time you are actually discussing this item.
We don't usually go, Q&A. I don't know if there's individuals that like to come, and if there are questions that commissioners have, if you're in the audience, I'm sure they can come to you.
No problem, but I do want to ask you for your support. It's a wonderful project, 32 housing units. We were the first project that was ready to go in order to fulfill the mission. And as a result of that, we are probably one of the first ones you will be funding. And it's a great project, and we look forward to any questions you have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak? The first public comment. If you can state your name and city. Others already filled that out.
Joseph Person from Southfield. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the chair of the Southfield Latham Village Democratic Club, and I rise in support of Lenny Taylor being appointed to County Commissioner. Our councilwoman, while in our club we fight. Let me just cut to the chase. We fight. We make decisions and we decide to do different things, but at the end of the day, there's no doubt we got her back, just like we got your back, because see, we don't have time to fight for this. 24, it's like, are you ready to rumble? It's gonna be serious. So ladies and gentlemen, and also while I'm here, Mr. Stokes, put that man on that commission, Parks and Rec, because when you bring that kind of juice or you bring that kind of energy, it is time for us to recognize. And that decision, I've seen it made in Southfield because somebody is older. If I told y'all how old I was, and I'll outrun anybody around here, I'll canvass anybody. Y'all saw us defeat the ballot initiative 70%. We need to have people that are active regardless to the age. And we also need to be able to have an argument as Democrats, but at the end of the day, let's get ready to get united, because we're gonna have a serious fight in 2024. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Anybody else that'd like to speak during public comment? The first public comment on items on the agenda.
Thank you.
Seeing none, I will close the first public comment. Again, as I mentioned at the top, there will be a second public comment at the end of the meeting. That will move us to reports of standing committees, and the first item is the consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda as adopted in the agenda? Moved by Commissioner Cavell, seconded by Commissioner Rahman. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please prompt the vote on the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the consent agenda is adopted. That will move us to the regular agenda, and I will call on the Chair of Economic Development and Infrastructure, the Honorable Commissioner Yolanda Smith-Charles, for, I believe, one item.
I am before you for item 14A, for 14, Economic Development Infrastructure Committee A. Oakland County Economic Development and Growth Alliance Oakland Thrive Agreement. And is there anything else I should?
Moved by Commissioner Smith Charles, seconded by Commissioner Cavell. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Spiz, followed by Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just reviewing this resolution, trying to understand it. I think everybody in the room here has always been in support of the veterans. And this one, if I read it correctly, and I understand it correctly, has to do with marketing from a grant that we received for the veterans program. It's $159,000 for marketing. I just don't understand why we're sending it to Oakland Thrive to help support from a marketing perspective. Aren't there other organizations out there that may do a better marketing job than Oakland Thrive, if I understood it correctly?
I can speak to it, or you want me to speak to it?
You can.
So, folks in Veteran Affairs came to committee last week, talked about, particularly the marketing of the Veteran Fairs and trying to connect those resources, and thinking that Oakland Thrive will be a better vehicle than how those dollars were being used within Veteran Affairs. And so this proposal comes with the support and recommendation of the administration and the folks that oversee Veteran Affairs. And many of you know Tyrone, who rallies the community support to support the Veteran Fairs that have been happening all over Oakland County, and came and spoke in strong support of making this tweak. It's just moving the communication marketing tools to our Oakland Thrive partnership. Commissioner Powell.
If Thrive was not in place, what would have been our marketing strategy before that? Because Thrive is really recent, and I'm just trying to understand who has been doing our marketing before in certain projects or things that we're bringing forth.
Now you're asking me to pull on memory, but I believe that in the veteran grant that comes through that we receive, that Veteran Affairs puts in the request, gets the state funding, and then I believe those funds were contracted out to another entity. But I don't know what entity that was contracted out to. But we can circle back with Veteran Affairs.
Yeah, because we got communications departments, and what I thought was a lot of that come out of the communications department to do some of this. So I'm just trying to understand why we have Thrive. Thrive is recent, and I'm not understanding why they have to take the marketing project, but I'll sit back for clarity later.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Long, I'm sorry.
No, that's no problem, and it's a little germane, it might not be if I do Robert's Rules of Order, but I just want to make sure that Thrive, since we've had the presentation and I understood, or got the presentation and understood a lot more about it, I'm just hearing that they're not that responsive to citizens. So I just want to say on record, please answer phone calls and don't refer people back to the commissioners that referred them to you. I'm very concerned. So I put that out there for people to do the email and the phone numbers, and I didn't give any of the personal cells, but I do not like a program that's going to say call your commissioner when we're telling them to call them, So I did want that to be on public record, because I won't support it further down the road if they ask for more money, if it's going to be like that. So thank you. And I think some commissioners are shaking their heads so they know what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the second time. I just, based on some of the questions and Commissioner Powell's comments on Oakland Thrive being relatively new, which I think we all agree and understand, in the future, I'd like to see some type of presentation on their marketing skills, because I don't know if they can market. I know when we originally discussed this grant in committee, when we were to receive it, there was a lot of discussion on the levels of grant funding and where it was going to go. So again, I'm surprised that we're actually sending this to Oakland Thrive at this point from a marketing perspective, because from my understanding, they're limited to no marketing experience, but that's just from what I understand. So I'd like to see a presentation in the future from them to understand what level of marketing skills that they have and how are they helping and how are they going to spend this $159,000 that they're going to get from this board today.
Right. I think we can definitely get that presentation. The Veteran Affairs grant is also an annual. I believe it runs through September, I think. So we'll be putting another application, forward and coming forward, and I think it's also another opportunity to drill down on this very question. Okay, not seeing any further questions. Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 15 yeas, 3 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Smith Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm all set.
Okay, perfect. I will now move on to finance and
Mr. Chair?
call up the Honorable Gwen Markham.
Mr. Chair, if I may, sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
Can we see,
it didn't pop up?
yeah, it didn't pop
The
up.
vote was 15-3.
I know it's 15-3, but I just wanted to see the roll.
15-3. I think it's gonna come up. Can we bring it up again? Can you put it, can you do the magic? Oh. Oh, so staff, can we present the tally of the vote on the screen? We have the front of the agenda up. We don't have the tally. You want me just to list the 3 noes? Commissioner Spiz, I think you know one of them. There were 3 noes. I think you know one. All right, I think they're trying to get it up on the board. Yes. It's the holiday season, everybody. All right, I think we're...
And Mr. Chair, while we're waiting, if I may, you look very festive today.
Well,
I love the
thank
vest
you.
and tie. Just thought I'd say that.
Maybe if we start singing carols. Oh, okay, it's already logged into the system, so I think you...
But I guess for future votes, will it pop up?
Mr. Chair, it's not possible to display the previous vote, but I can read the votes if you'd like, or otherwise
It doesn't matter to me.
publicize.
I just want to make sure
Okay,
going
yeah.
forward, are they going to pop up so we can see them if we need
You'll,
to?
yes, it'll be
And the public
recorded
and
on
people
the
in audience
agenda.
can see them if they need
in
to?
the minutes.
Yes. The next votes will pop up. Okay, and it will be recorded in the minutes. Okay. Da-da! Good job, okay. All right. Okay, we got that one up, all right. So now we're gonna move on to finance, and the Chair of Finance, the Honorable Gwen Markham. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 3 items tonight on the agenda. The first one is item 15A, the fiscal year 2023 year-end report.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Rahman. Any discussion? Commissioner Spiz, followed by Cavell.
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
Spiz.
I have currently only 2 questions on this one. One, is this a timely issue? Does this have something that has to be done? Because it's a end of 2023, which we're already in 2024 fiscal year. So, I mean, I know you like to get it done, but is there a time crunch to get this done? Reason I'm asking is the
is
second
Cheryl still
question
here?
is has every department been consulted or given the information that's going to be carried over and having a chance to comment back on it or not? Because I've heard through the grapevine that's not the case.
We
If
have
I
the
may.
person overseeing fiscal services, if you want to, call on staff. Cheryl, why don't you introduce yourself for those who might not know exactly who you are, but everyone here should know who you are because you are the gateway to the money.
I am Cheryl Johnson. I am the interim deputy CFO. We did pull the report together. The timing this year was strange because we have 60 days to recognize revenue, and the last finance subcommittee was still in November, and we were still recognizing revenue for the books to close for '23. So we have to get it adopted before the end of the year, so that's why we brought it to the board before it went to finance. I've been doing this for about 6 weeks in Kyle's absence, so I made the assumption that the departments were notified as they had typically been notified, and I found out tonight at the caucus that that was not the case. So I'm gonna ask for forgiveness and just tell you it's kind of my newbie is my excuse, because I wasn't sure how they were doing it. I assumed that the staff would notify the rest of the departments, and clearly that did not happen.
And I think if appropriate, finance can have a further discussion on this at the next finance meeting.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yep.
follow up on it.
Yep.
And I appreciate your comments. Just want to make sure those departments get an opportunity to comment and review it, and that if there's any concern or reconsideration for some of the things that may have been carried over that they have different opinions on, or things that they are interested in that may not have been carried over because of
Well, the
no
thing
communication.
about-
So I just want to make sure that they're consulted.
Yep.
So they get the opportunity to voice their positions based on the monies.
Well, all the carry forward does is take it from the 23 budget and automatically put it in 24. There's always the opportunity to come back to the board and ask those funds to be reallocated, because they just go into the fund balance at that point when they're not used. So there's always that avenue available for any departments to bring their stuff back.
And I can appreciate and understand budget is a budget, and there's always chances to amend it. It's just, but sometimes, you know, as we as board members change and things change, that positions might change slightly, where you thought you had monies for X project, and all of a sudden, you know, something comes up, and all of a sudden the board doesn't agree with that project any longer. So just want to give them the opportunity to voice their positions.
Yep.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Commissioner Long.
Well, I appreciate her candor. I just, I like stuff going through finance the right way. This is just kind of thrown on here for me. So I don't know, I might have to vote no, but it's just out of the the process. And I get it, you know, Kyle left and there's a period for change, you know, to turn over into a learning curve. But I would have rather saw this and, you know, been able to go over it better in finance last week. So I think I'm going to vote no just on receiving it. I don't think it will mess anything up, but thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
What, because Cheryl did ask me if that would be okay, and I said I would prefer that we get the information out here as opposed to delay reporting into next year. So I made that decision.
Well, and one of the other things that we did, if I may, is, you know, I talked to Michael Andrews about making sure that next year when we look at the December report, that there is a finance subcommittee in December, so that we can make sure that we're accounting for all of our revenue that we're entitled to, and then a board, even if it's just a week before the board meeting that's in December next year. So we did address that scheduling issue.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please prompt the vote?
I'm a yes.
Mr. Chair, there are 17 yeas, 1 nay.
A sufficient number voted in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My next item is item B. I'll move appropriating the American Rescue Plan Act local fiscal recovery funds for Water Resource Commissioner's Hardship Assistance Program.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Cavell. Any discussion? Commissioner Spitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And actually, my comments are relative to 13B and 13C. And the reason I wanted to take them together is because when I was reading through the agenda and reviewing each one of these resolutions independently, it kind of caught me odd, right? It was odd. I said, all right, I knew for Royal Oak Township in the past we provided I think it was roughly $600,000, Charlie, for some infrastructure for the lead lines, right? Great. And then I see this one for another $1.3 million for water and sewer. Okay, you know, throws up a little red flag for me, but then I saw that we have a hardship program right after that, that is the entire county for only $200,000. So it's like, we're giving $1.3 million of ARPA money to Royal Oak Township, but we're only putting aside $200,000 for the rest of the county for hardship issues with water. So to me, it kind of caught me odd and didn't really sit well with me, because it's like, it throws up a huge red flag for me. I understand Royal Oak Township needs some support, you know, and they have some infrastructure that they probably need updated, which actually the entire county does, right? We have communities all over the county that need infrastructure updates, and I think our long-term strategy at one time was hoping when the infrastructure funds came in from Washington, we would start using that money for this type of stuff. So I don't know if there's a timeliness on the Royal Lake Township water and sewer issues or not, but to me, it just threw up a red flag for me, and I was concerned.
Does anyone want to speak to that? Commissioner Cavell.
Great point. The hardship fund, just to speak to that one, since that's what we're voting on. That's seed funding that's matched by the United Way and other philanthropy. And so ongoing, this is just a one-time to try and do this right. And I believe their ask started out higher, and this is what they were able to negotiate. So you're right, the need is definitely there in every corner of the county and every zip code. I mean, shoot, right? Leonardtown, I mean, people with failing septic, it's terrible out here. So I agree with you, and this is just the beginning of something that hopefully will be a much bigger philanthropically funded thing. And there's also efforts underway at the state level to replicate what they do with THAW for DTE. So hopefully philanthropy or the county won't have to pay for this anymore, because we'll all add a cent or 10 cents to each of our bills and pay for it like they do with DTE. But good questions.
I mean, if I may, I'm going to jump in a little bit. The Hardship Assistance Program is a pilot targeted effort to zero in on the ALICE communities, the ones that income is slightly higher than what some of the the RAP funds, the Great Lakes Water Authority is already eligible for, but they're slightly above that. They're on their risk of slipping down into that lower. So that's, it's a very small, narrow focus, but from a countywide perspective, and I believe WRC has a countywide estimate of how many people might fall into this, and build the infrastructure to be able to provide assistance so that people don't get behind on their water bills. The other one, as I understand, is the funding that's necessary to provide the match to draw down, significantly more money for water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure that I believe Royal Oak Township was awarded, but they don't have the physical match to make the difference. And it's part of the total infrastructure, and I believe that's what the second piece is. And actually, I'm looking to the Royal Oak Township manager. Is that accurate? You don't know, that's okay. Yes, I'm pretty sure. So that money, we're putting up that money to help cover the match that's leveraging millions of additional dollars that has been awarded, but I believe there is a 20% match requirement, and that's what this is being paid. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. And so when you're talking about it was $400,000 before for Royal Oak Township, that was for the planning. So this is kind of the situation, just to lift up the people there, that before, when we talked about the money for Royal Oak Township, that money was because the township had, this is before your time, in. This was, the township had, was able to apply for strategic revolving loan fund, whatever, the way they fund water at the state level. They were eligible to apply for something that they would then get a forgivable loan to help with getting rid of the lead lines. But the township did not have enough money to pay for the schematics and engineering drawings that they needed. So that's what that first tranche of money was. Now that they've got the loan, they need to provide that match, like Chair Woodward was saying. But they still don't have, a town with 1,100 2,400 residents and 1,100 households. I think it's 60% federal poverty line or below, and then people living close to that. So they didn't find an extra $1.3 million in the preceding year to do that match. So so it's kind of that, or like leaching water.
Any other question? Discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, let's prompt the vote on the local recovery funds for WRC Hardship Assistance Program.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, there are 18 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. And Commissioner Markham?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My last item tonight is item 15C, appropriating the American Rescue Plan Act local fiscal recovery funds for Royal Oak Township drinking water and sewer system improvement projects. I'll move that.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Smith-Charles. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 17 yeas, 1 nay.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the report of the Finance Committee tonight.
Thank you very much. Next up, I will call up the Chair of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, the Honorable Brendan Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee has 2 items on the regular agenda today. The first item is the appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Chair of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee recommends the following board action: the reappointment of Andrea LaFontaine and the appointment of Chanel Weatherspoon to the Parks and Recreation Commitment for a 3-year term beginning January 1st, 2024 and expiring December 31st, 2026.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson. Second.
Could we separate those 2 appointments, please? Instead of voting, can we vote for one?
Well, the motion, the motion is that would have to vote. So wait, there's moved by Johnson, seconded by Joliet. Is it a motion to separate the question?
Yes, for each appointment.
Okay, it's a motion by Commissioner Long to separate the appointment, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. Discussion on separating the question. All in favor of separating the Commissioner Johnson?
I appreciate it. I guess I'll speak in defense of not doing it, is that we did that pretty extensively during committee. And just kind of as a procedure thing, I don't like to establish that. I understand the want to do that, and it's fine, and I don't really care, but just as a matter of protocol, because we spent a lot of time on each of them individually in committee, I'll vote no on that, but that's me.
All right.
Well, I would argue when I was chairperson of general government, we always did one individual, each separate all the time.
Okay.
So I would argue that for years we did it one at a time.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm going to support the chair. I'm going to support the chair of LAGO, and we'll be voting no on separating the question. Mr. Clerk, will you please prompt the vote on splitting the question? Commissioner Markham? Sufficient number voting the affirmative, the question will be divided. So we will take up an order of, Commissioner, well, okay, we have a motion already, and we will separate the question, so.
Do you need me to repeat the motion?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move the reappointment of Andrea LaFontaine to the Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term beginning January 1st, 2024 and expiring December 31st, 2026.
Okay, and that was already seconded by Joliet. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 18 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The appointment is confirmed. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the appointment of Chanel Weatherspoon to the Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term beginning January 1st, 2024 and expiring December 31st, 2026.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Ann Erickson Galt. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 12 yeas, 6 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The appointment is confirmed. Commissioner Johnson.
The next item on our agenda, Mr. Chair, is hold on just a second, it's loading. Is a motion to approve the Healthy Workplace Policy to be in effect until April 1st of 2024.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Smith Charles. Wow. Okay. Cavell, followed by Spiz.
This seems like a great thing, and anyone that votes against this healthy workplace policy seems like they'd be in favor of unhealthy workplaces.
Leave it to Charlie.
All right. Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you,
for the
Mr.
rebuttal.
Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Cavell, for that comment. I guess I don't understand this. It has nothing to do with healthy workplaces versus unhealthy workplaces. But now we're going to create a program that allows people to bring in information that says they have the flu or COVID. What about all the other things that are out there that people can get that could potentially are issues like RSV? And that's another big one going on right now. So I don't
have someone
get
has
it.
an answer for that.
I know. I'm expecting an answer, but so that's where that part I don't get. And why would we put ourselves in this position and creating what I'm considering a Pandora's box and doing something like this? They already get sick time. They already get personal leave. You already have vacation days. Why are we adding another feature into our HR policy? It makes no sense to me. In the private sector, we don't do this. You have set days and that's it.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. We had a pretty good discussion during our committee about what we were going to do. We amended the policy to include RSV, so RSV is included. It also, so there's like a final version. It's like, it reminds me of the old Microsoft days. It's like final version 3. But there is a final version that includes RSV, and then you have to be tested on site in the health division. So yeah, I guess that's my semi-comprehensive answer.
and I do believe that this was discussed at great length in committee.
It was.
I popped in for him. So I got both of those. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So one of the concerns that I had when we brought this up in discussion. So part-time employees, right? Part-time employees are not eligible for their sick days. I don't know about anybody else, but if you were a part-time, have been a part-time worker, it's usually the part-time workers who are coming to work sick because they can't afford to take time off. And this policy has no reflection on part-time workers. And that's one of my biggest concerns with this policy. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Long, followed by Commissioner Gidgel.
How many sick hours does the employees get? I don't know that answer anymore. Like in general, does anyone know? I used to know it, but I don't know. Maybe, Phil, did you look that up? How many hours did they get sick?
40 and 8
Oh, 40 hours. Okay. So my thing is just 40 sick hours?
This seems like
Okay.
a committee
Well,
conversation.
right, it is a different
Okay,
one,
yes.
but I'm just thinking they can use their sick hours. I don't think they need to show us proof that they're sick and have a separate thing for being sick. It's just you're sick, you're sick. And why make them come to the county to get tested? And they can get tested by their house. I mean, who wants to drive here if you have RSV? You know, you're calling in, you call in. You got to come here and drive sick on the road to come get tested to prove that you're sick. I just think it's fine with the 40 hours. I'm a no on this. Thank you. Not that I'm against house stuff, but, you know, I am a nurse, too.
Okay. Nurse Long says no. Commissioner Gengel has the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my perspective is a little different. I think it's a slippery slope starting to list specific ailments that you're getting time off for. If we feel that we don't have the right benchmark for the number of days for time off, we should benchmark that against other municipalities and increase it, if that's what this is really getting at. I think it's a slippery slope because when you start saying this ailment or that ailment, now you're gonna have a list of 10 other ailments over the next few months. And from a HIPAA standpoint, I'm not certain we have to require people to disclose what they're sick with, in my opinion. I don't know if corporation councils looked at this or not. And then I guess the last thing I would say is for a few people that's got the recent variant of COVID that I know of, they were out cold for like 2 to 3 days, like could not get up out of bed. So if that happens and then they wake up with it and they can't get up out of bed, how are they going to get to the county to take a test? I mean, I think we should have a little bit more of a trust policy with our employees. I think we should say if 5 days or 8 days, sick days aren't enough and we need to raise it to 12 because this is the benchmark, we should do it that way and let the employees have the dignity of being honest with us and let managers manage those that aren't. So I'm voting against it because I think it's a slippery slope.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really appreciate Commissioner Nelson's comments there about the part-time piece because, yes, I have rocked a part-time job a time or two, and nobody cares about you. And so I would be a no if not for the fact that it looks like it sunsets in April of next year. But I would like us to revisit this when it comes back around to make sure we can capture more. I mean, I had bronchitis about a month and a half ago. People were looking at me crazy, thinking it was COVID or flu. And you don't really want to be around people, but it's not listed as one of the approved ailments. So I would have missed out and probably got people sick. So I would like to ensure that next time around we think about those part-timers and we also think about not necessarily identifying the ailment.
All right, thank you very much. Hopefully that time around, the Supreme Court heard a case about earned paid sick time that another commissioner might have been involved in for the last 4 years. So we might have earned paid sick time for everybody, including part-time workers, by the time we get to that. So seeing no further discussion, let's call Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote on this policy. All right. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to change my vote to no. Call it.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry. Never popped up.
Mr. Chair, there are 7 yeas, 11 nays.
There an insufficient number. The pass. This resolution is not adopted. Was it the last item?
Yes.
Okay.
On my agenda.
On your agenda, yes. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Johnson, any further things?
That concludes the report of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to request that we take a 10-minute recess, and I'm going to ask the Democratic Caucus to convene. Okay. Once people come back in. All right, I think everyone's in here. Okay, we're going to reconvene. That was the longest 10 minutes of my life. I'm going to ask the clerk to call roll to reestablish quorum.
Commissioner Cavell. Commissioner Eric Segault. Commissioner Gershenson. Commissioner Gingell. Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Joliet.
Here.
Commissioner Long.
Here.
Commissioner Lubes. Commissioner Markham. Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Powell. Commissioner Rahman.
Present.
Commissioner Smith Charles. Commissioner Spiz. Commissioner Weipert. Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, following our last action, I'm going to call on Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move to reconsider item number 16B, Healthy Workplace Policy.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Gershenson. Any discussion? Commissioner Spiz? Motion made to postpone the motion to reconsider. It's been seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. All in favor of postponing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The nays have it.
I had to comment on it. Were we not allowed to comment on the motion, or?
The motion to reconsider?
Yes.
Is that a debatable motion?
I don't know, had something to say.
My Robert's rules is fleeting because I'm in such a cheery mood. Commissioner Gingell.
We're going to have to have you wear the hat every meeting. It's like, I like the Santa
Speaking
Dave.
on the motion to reconsider.
Yeah, so only thing I was going to say is clearly there's a lot that probably could continue to be worked on to make it better. And in regards to postponing, I don't think a number of, I'll speak for myself, in regards to understanding the need for incremental days due to sick needs within the county, I'm not opposed to looking at that, understanding it, et cetera. I don't think we need to tag it to specific diseases or sickness. And my support to postpone would be to let us do the due diligence, find the benchmarks, figure out the right incremental number of days, and adopt it as a more cohesive policy.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion on reconsidering the vote?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Seeing none? Commissioner Hoffman on postponing, not debating the merits, just on the vote to reconsider the vote.
Okay, then we'll have a discussion after that.
Yes,
okay.
We will. Okay. All right, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote on reconsideration. Gershenson. This is on the motion to reconsider. This is yes to reconsider the vote. This is not about postponing. Okay.
We're voting yes.
Wait.
But I never got it.
Okay. Commissioner Cavell votes yes.
Yes. No.
Mr. Chair, there are 10 yeas, 8 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The vote is reconsidered. Okay, that brings us back to the main motion, moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Now it's on the... It's passed. Okay. All right, we're not reconsidering again. All right. I'm going to start throwing hollies. All right. The vote has been reconsidered. The vote has been reconsidered. Get that sugar away from me. The vote has been reconsidered. Commissioner Johnson moves the resolution. It's been seconded by Lubes. Discussion on the resolution. Commissioner Hoffman had your hand up first.
This is exactly what I talked about last week. I mean,
Keep your comments to the merits of the question.
pardon?
Please keep your comments to the merits of the question.
This is about the question. It's about, we all voted, and then the chair doesn't like the results of the vote, so he calls a recess. You go out to the woodshed again, and I'll be curious to know how many come back and change their vote. This is not democracy. We already voted. And there's some valid points made to maybe this thing does need to be fine-tuned. I don't know what the sense of urgency is. People have PTO days, they have sick days. If you're off for more than, is it 5 days, you get short-term disability. I don't understand the rush to do this. And there are some valid points made about put it off to January, let's talk about it, and come up with something that might be a little bipartisan.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As someone who voted no originally and got an opportunity to hear actual staff from the executive side speak to exactly our questions, I would be remiss if I didn't go with it as a yes now, knowing that my questions have been answered. We're getting ready to be right in the thick of the sick time. To postpone till January would likely impact whether or not people could take off time, which would be bad. And then also, we did express, I feel, very succinctly in caucus, our desires. I feel like April heard those. We do have some checks and balances in place to be able to make sure that it's working, and how can we broaden it or make it more concise. So I'm going to be supporting this today because I feel like April heard us, and we're going to be holding them accountable.
Great. Thank you very much. Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we have a legal opinion on this? I mean, with HIPAA and a few other laws that are out there, can we actually do it exactly this way and actually call out only certain illnesses? Is that legal from a policy perspective?
This policy has been vetted by the Executive Office and the Corporation Council.
Corporate Counsel, but do we have an official HR attorney that looked at it? Not Corp Counsel, HR attorney.
You're more than welcome to call April. I mean, I have no more information. Commissioner Cavell.
I just want to lift up the sheriff's deputies and the clerk staff that are all here that would benefit from this. Us doing this would give them 3 more days off if they get sick. It just seems, our support staff, all of that. So like our actions have consequences. So if you vote against this, like it's not the best, right? Part-time would be great, but this is a new thing that the county's doing. This is something that is helping our workforce be more able to work effectively. So just remember that when you look in the eyes of the people that have to be here full-time and have to do the job.
Okay, I think everything's been said. I will recognize people for a final time. Commissioner Long, Ginjo, no. About the question? That would be a comment, but that's okay.
I just have a.
That's fine. Commissioner Long, Ginjo, Nelson.
All right, I just have a rebuttal to Commissioner Charlie. So, Commissioner Charlie, I talked to the board staff, and they kind of agreed with me. Why should they have to tell why they're sick? You know, you need a mental health day. Should everyone have to call in and say, you know what, I'm having an anxiety attack, I need 3 days off? No, there's HIPAA laws, there's this, and they agreed with me. If you got PMS, you should be able to call in. You don't have to tell your boss you got PMS. They agreed with me, so I don't know who I'm not saying don't give them their time. I'm saying they don't need to tell why they're sick, they're adults.
Okay, Commissioner Ginjo, followed by Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to add on to Commissioner Long's comment relative to Commissioner Cavell. I appreciate the emotion around look into the eyes of the clerk staff and you're taking away days, but here's what I would say. Look into the eyes of the clerk staff. If you would work with us, we might tell them we're giving them 5 or 6 more days, And I would tell them that you don't have to say why you're sick. You don't have to get up when you're COVID and drive here to get tested, because I trust you to tell the truth. And you could also look in their eyes and say, we have managers in place that if people are taking advantage of the system, then they should be managed by their managers, not by the Board of Commissioners. So I appreciate your example, but I would say to you, I wouldn't want to look in the eyes of any staff members and say, yeah, you only got this because we wanted to push this through. We weren't willing to wait and work a little bit longer to get something better that actually ended up in a better result. It's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As many of you know, I like process and procedure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Commissioner Markham should not be the one to have made the motion to consider because she wasn't on the prevailing side.
She was on the prevailing side because she voted no.
She voted no, so she,
That's-
from my understanding
it
of process
failed.
and procedure.
No,
I used
the
incorrect
prevailing
word, so-
side was no. A no vote was, you
But
had,
because she voted no,
the prevailing side was no. You had to be on the no side to reconsider.
okay, lesson learned. This is good.
Nope.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, nope, final, for a 10th time. Commissioner Spitz.
I'm trying to set
Last
the record.
last time.
I'm trying to set the record for tonight for a number of comments and questions. And I'm not sure anybody here has answered this, but somebody might. Are there any other municipalities or governmental entities that are doing something like this from a policy perspective? Or is Oakland County going to be the first to do this?
Bring to HR, the Health Department, and Deputy Executive Lynch.
I'd be really interested in that.
See no further, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to clear up, Commissioner Gingell, he had the thing about, because we learned this in caucus meeting, is you don't have to come to the county to get a test. You can go to your doctor, you can go to urgent care to get the test. So you don't have to come to the county. I just want to just to make sure it's clear and that he gets that information, the same information we got. I want to make sure he gets it. Not
Good.
saying
Okay, I
change
think
his
we're ready
mind,
to
but just want to make sure he had the information. Thank you.
Still got a lot of things to do. Commissioner Powell.
And I was just gonna say, I also talked to some of our staff, and they were in support of this.
Okay,
So thank
great.
you.
Thank you. There seems to be a lot of energy and interest of continuing this conversation. The chair of LAGO has already slated it for a LAGO meeting. You are all welcome to attend. And this policy expires April 1, like in 4 months. I think we've almost exhausted it. So with that, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote. Go check. Almost. Wait, before you call it, just hold the board open. Wait.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas, 7 nays.
All right, a sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Okay, where are we? All right, Commissioner Johnson on LAGO.
Mr. Chair, that gleefully concludes the report of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Whew. Okay, excellent. All right, this will now move to new and miscellaneous business. The first item up is the appoint of an individual to fill the vacant District 18 Oakland County Commission position for the remainder of the unexpired term, effective of the appointment through December 31st, effective upon this appointment through December 31, 2024. Commissioner Smith Charles. Make the motion.
Yes, I move that to which you just spoke.
Well, you need to move a name.
Oh. I move that we appoint Lenny Taylor from the great city of Southfield to fill the individual vacant District 18 Oakland County Commission position for the remainder of the unexpired term, expiring December 31st, 2024.
Motion by Yolanda Smith-Charles, seconded by Angela Powell. Any discussion? See none. Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 12 yeas, 6 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The confirmation of the appointment of Lenny Taylor to be our next member of the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Lenny Taylor. I'll give you the mic.
Thank you all, and I promise you that you will not be disappointed. I have reached out to our partners here, and I'm willing and able and just excited to work with each and every one of you. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Taylor, your HR background is going to come in very helpful in March.
You've already put me to work. You
There
know?
we go. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Next up, we have the appropriation of funding for the new agreement with Axon Enterprise to implement a TASER 10-year certification plan. Moved by Hoffman, seconded by Lubes. I know it's been great. Do we need to discuss any more? I just like a high level for everybody. We talked about this caucus. Our tasers are at end of life. This is a 10-year plan with fixed costs that include the full replacement halfway through and brings in the best available technology today, a 10-shot taser, and we all, I believe, can see the value in reducing need for lethal force any way possible. And so this outfits all of our deputies and other law enforcement personnel with the new technology following this agreement. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote. Loops.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Next up, we have sponsorship of Southfield A&T Warriors Championship Celebration. Moved by Yolanda Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Powell. Any discussion? Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm asking for unanimous support of this from my colleagues here on the commission. Southfield A&T varsity boys football brought home the championship. I'm talking Division I football championship here to Oakland County, representing all of us, all of our communities. And so if I could get support, and for anyone who chooses not to, don't come up to the picture when the team comes. I'm kidding, but you can take the picture.
Good, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, are we voting on this, or are these being referred?
We are voting on this.
Okay.
I have a point of order. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, there are 17 yeas, 1 nay.
A sufficient number voted in the affirmative. Okay, on happier, merrier notes, Commissioner Spiz.
Yeah, just a point of order. Just a point of order along the lines of Commissioner Nelson's question. I mean, normally we had to waive the rules per the board rules to vote on them today if they were not getting referred to committee. So how do I tell out of these which ones are being referred to committee and which ones are not? Is it in there? Because I don't see it.
All the others are being referred to committee.
Okay, but in the future, how do I know that?
It is.
Okay, up there it says approve. So, but
Okay, we can have that conversation afterwards.
But point of order,
to your
don't we
point,
have-
I mean, we could also like just make it even more clear from the start of the meeting too. I could-
okay, but even if we are voting on it today, since normally we do everything in committee, don't we have to waive the rules, our board rules, to do that?
Well, we approved the agenda.
Like on this one, we should
at
have
the top.
waived board
We are
rules?
following our rules. Moving on, yes. Okay. Next item. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to introduce a non-binding resolution supporting national policy reform that aims to prevent disruptions in primary and behavioral health care services for justice-involved populations, and I would like to have it referred to LAGO.
Referred without objection. Commissioner Markham. Is it your resolution support the Michigan? Yeah. Yep.
This item is to support Michigan Senate Bill 605 to 611 for polluter accountability. What these bills purport to do is.
We can just refer them to committee because we're going to take them up in committee. Referred to LAGO without objection. Commissioner Hoffman. And referred without objection. And Commissioner Cavell.
Chair, program sponsorship with the City of Huntington Woods for anti-racist parenting education workshops. The recommended action here is to suspend the, refer to finance.
Referred without objection. Okay, I think we got all the business done. Whew. Okay, that brings us to announcements. Any announcements for the body? Commissioner Johnson, followed by Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a feel-good announcement today. I just, yesterday several of us were at an event in Pontiac, and I just, as it happens, was talking to a developer in Pontiac who is breaking ground on the renovation of the tallest building in the city of Pontiac this week. It is a $10 million project to convert old 20th century office space into over 130 residential units. He told me about how it was impossible to secure a loan from the banks for the project. But when we bought the Phoenix Center, all of a sudden the banks said yes, and it is 100% privately financed. So just wanted to show already, even though we haven't even dug our teeth into the Phoenix Center project yet, that we've got over $10 million of economic impact. So I feel good about that.
Good news. All right. Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you. I would just like to ask for a moment of silence because today was 82 years since the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and along with the greatest generation that ever lived and our allies, we actually saved the world. So if we could have a moment of silence, I'd appreciate it.
Let's take a moment of silence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gershenson.
Everyone that there is a gun buyback this Saturday at, what's the name of the church? At St. David's Church on 12 Mile in Southfield. We're partnering with Reverend Yaw and the Southfield Police Department. Anybody feel free to stop in. It's 9 to 1. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Commissioner Miller.
Yes, I just want to say happy birthday to the operating engineers, 1896 when it was established today.
Wow, there we go. Happy birthday, operators. All right, Jess, well, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, happy and a happy New Year before we all come back together. Remember to shop local. Please enjoy the treats from one of my favorite bakeries. For all those who share a little Rochester Hills area, Royal Oak, the Give Thanks Bakery, good stuff. But there's plenty of great small businesses all around this county that continue to support and keep in mind over this holiday season. Thank you very much. And with, wait, that was announcements. I got the final public comment. So those who have things about public comments, so this is the second public comment. So if anyone wants to speak on this, on any topic we talked today or anything in the world, please come to the microphone. Public comment going once, going twice. The second public comment is closed, and we stand adjourned until January 18, 2024, or call the chair. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.